ASL to English, Patrie DVD Week 3. So the summer of '85, my girlfriend and I were in Los Angeles, California. We drove all the way south, all the way down to the border of Mexico, and we went into Tijuana. After entering into the country, we noticed how, poor everybody is and how, we felt so out of place. And my girlfriend had never been before, but my family, we go all the time. So I had definitely seen everything. And, we kind of were taken aback by how poor everybody was and the kids that kept coming up to you and asking for money. And it just was a really sad situation. So, we went sightseeing, we went shopping, we looked around. Everything is so cheap in Mexico. So we kind of did our thing and went around and did our shopping. And then when we decided that we had had enough, we decided that we'd go back. So, when you go back into the United States, at the border, they go through your bags. They make sure that you have the proper IDs. They make sure that you're not bringing anything that isn't allowed back into the United States. So my girlfriend and I are waiting in line, and everyone in front of us is going through the line. Everyone's getting in. My girlfriend, she goes up to the gentleman, and he looks at her Gallaudet ID, and then looks back up at her, lets her go through. And then it's my turn. So I have my Gallaudet ID, plus I have my California driver's license. So I have 2 pieces of identification. The gentleman looks at both of them, back and forth and up at me, and then back and forth and up at me. And then he tries to say something to me, and I'm like, I'm deaf, like I can't hear what you're saying. And then he spoke again. I'm like, I cannot understand, like I can't hear you. And the guy pointed behind him, and he told me I needed to go to another room, and I was kind of confused about it. So anyways, he made me enter that room, and a woman came in, and she had both of my IDs. And he was looking back, and she was looking back and forth at my IDs and back up at me. And then tried to speak. And I was like, seriously? Like, can you please write back and forth? I'm deaf. And then she spoke again. She was being so stubborn and hard-headed. Finally, she got a piece of paper out, and she was writing, so, where are you from? Like, why are you here? From. Where are you from? Excuse me. The woman said, I said, I'm from Los Angeles, California. She said, well, then why are you here? And he said, well, I was visiting Mexico with my girlfriend, and we were just doing some shopping and sightseeing. She said, nope, sorry, you can't get back into America. And I was totally freaked out. I can't get back in. Are you serious? I was arguing with the woman. And the woman said, no, you are not getting back in. Like, that's not going to happen. And we kept arguing and discussing. I could just picture in my head, what is my girlfriend going to do? My parents, plus my vehicle. My car's a stick. My girlfriend doesn't know how to drive a stick. What are we going to do what am I going to do when I have to stay in Mexico? I don't have money. How do I contact my parents? What are the interpreting services like? This place is so poor. The woman said, you need to go. And so my eyes filled up with water, and I was kind of freaking out, and I gave up. I said, no, this is not going to happen. So I took a piece of paper. I said, I'm from California, Los Angeles, California. I'm a student at Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C. These are my IDs, okay? This is all, like, legitimate documents. And the woman was like, okay, fine, you can go back in the U.S. Oh, my gosh, I was so scared. My heart was beating so fast out of my chest. That is something that I will absolutely never forget. So my girlfriend and I went back home, and we talked to my parents, and we found a new law that says that from now on, you have to bring your birth certificate before you enter. And if you don't, forget trying to get back. So I just kept that in my brain. So I thought about the next time that we went down to Tijuana, we went with some friends, and we drove all the way down there to do some sightseeing. It was constantly on my brain, bring my birth certificate, bring my birth certificate. But I was curious to see what would happen. So when we decided to go back into the United States, we were in that line again, and there was Gallaudet ID and the person in front of me, and then it was my turn. So I had my driver's license, my Gallaudet ID, plus my birth certificate ready. It was sealed, stamped, everything was legitimate. So I was ready. I was prepared to give him all 3 pieces of my identification. He looked at all 3 and then back at me. And I was so nervous. I was like shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if he's going to let me in. He looked at all of my information, handed it back to me, and let me in. Oh my gosh, thank goodness. That was so, I'm a strong Mexican man I look very Mexican, but I was very perplexed. I was really wanted to get back into that country.